I'm not the best at math, but based on my loose calculations, I think we have $1 million worth of gems on this table.
Indeed we do.
All right, guys, we've got 4 boxes today. Let's not waste any time and let's read a clue, see what's in them. Let's play a game. Oh gosh. Which of these gems is worth as much as a house? Let's just get them all out, hurry up and see what's inside. We're gonna look at these 4 gems and figure out which one is expensive as a house. Let's start with my right, your left. This is a smoky quartz crystal. I know that this is quartz for a few different reasons. So quartz is in the trigonal crystal system, and one of its most common habits is a hexagonal prism with a termination at the top. Quartz has horizontal striations on the prism faces. The form is going to give it some value because look how pretty it is as a display piece. Quartz is a super abundant material. It's found all over the earth. It's not super rare, and so I'm a little bit hesitant to say that that guy is as expensive as a house, so I'm going to say that that's not our winner. Is this Heliodor? Okay, so Heliodor is a yellow type of beryl. Its brothers and sisters are things like morganite, emerald, aquamarine. Being this size and this color and this clarity is going to give it some value. But it doesn't have definitive crystal form. It doesn't have those flat crystal faces. It's just a hunk of beryl. I actually think that there's a chance that you could get more value out of this if you cut it up into different faceted gemstones. As a piece of rough, I'm not ready to say that it is as valuable as a house. Let's move on to this bladed crystal. So this is kunzite, which is a type of spodumene. Kunzites are actually fairly brittle because they have multiple planes of cleavage. Cleavage is a very specific type of fracture when gemstones split along an atomic plane of weakness. You can see that this kunzite has super flat planes. I think this is really valuable just because it is relatively large, and like I said, kunzite is not a super durable gemstone. That's a larger piece that hasn't been broken or disrupted by anything. But from a rarity perspective, it's not extremely rare. I don't think that it's as valuable as a house. Okay, so I kind of lied because all along I knew that this specimen had some extreme value to it. I don't know the exact value. I mean, it's certainly 6 figures. This is so pretty. So the first thing that drew my eye was the color. That deep, rich blue is such a valuable color, and it has a little bit of this purplish violet secondary hue to it. So this is tanzanite, which is a variety of the gem zoisite. It is found in one locality in commercial quantities, and that is Tanzania at the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro. A lot of people say it's 1,000 times rarer than diamond. It has 2 planes of cleavage. It's not a super durable stone. And so to have anything in this size is pretty remarkable. A lot of the miners at the tanzanite mines are artisanal miners. It could take up to a decade to even find a gem this size. So imagine pulling something like this out of the ground. I don't know what would go through your mind at that point, except for maybe you could buy a house with it. What if I told you guys that we have a tanzanite specimen even larger and even more memorable than this one? Well, we do. We're going to bring on Tim Matthews, who is the president and CEO of JTV, who had the fun job of purchasing these. And so he's going to tell us a little bit about the history, how we got them, and maybe he'll bring us a few more surprises.
How about this?
Yes, yes.
Beautiful piece of tanzanite rock.
Beautiful tanzanite. But I told them that you actually had a bigger, nicer piece of tanzanite even than that.
We do. We actually have a marquee piece that was owned by Tanzanite One. It's an amazing specimen.
I think we should bring it out.
Yeah,
bring it out.
Bring it on. This particular specimen weighs about 15 pounds.
It's heavy. Oh my goodness.
This is just an incredible specimen. And this was in the company's vault in their possession for a long, long time. And many of you may or may not know this, but Tanzanite 1 actually went out of business. It went into bankruptcy, the assets were sold, the specimen was part of that sale, and we ultimately were able to acquire it.
So tell us about Tanzanite 1. You've said that a few times. That is the mine.
Tanzanite 1 had the mining charter or franchise that the government granted. There were other mines too, because they allow locals to mine. There are artisanal mines, but Tanzanite 1 was the player for a long time.
So what I've read, obviously Tanzanite 1, it has more resources than artisanal miners. Their mine is actually 800 meters deep, which is as tall as the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Artisanal miners are not going to get that.
No, they're not. And Tanzanite 1 at one time did have more resources and also came up with these amazing specimens, this being maybe the best of the best, and we now have it here at Jewelry Television.
So I want to talk a little bit about the value of this versus the value of this. This to me has a color second to none. What makes that one so much more valuable than this one?
Well, first of all, its size. This is an amazingly large piece of rough tanzanite, and its beauty too. I mean, the structure of this with this striation on this edge and this edge is very, very unique. This specimen is really made to be displayed vertically like this. You can imagine this found in the earth like this. If we were to take a big chunk of this specimen and start cutting at it, we would find some bluer sections just like the smaller specimen that you're holding.
That's
so
true,
this
right
is
there.
roughly twice the value as the smaller specimen.
Can you give us like a ballpark of the value?
Well, these are both six-figure kinds of specimens.
We've got a lot of value on the table, I think,
Yeah, we
because
do.
I know this faceted specimen is pretty expensive. Honestly, I think this is a beautiful gemstone. I actually really like the natural golden zoisite. What a lot of people may not know is most tanzanite comes out of the ground a brownish color. Do you know if this one is heat treated or not?
I believe that it is not. And so what that means is that the earth has naturally heated the tanzanite to change the color from brown to this beautiful blue that looks like sapphire.
I was gonna check the pleochroism.
All right, you want me to hold the tip?
Sure.
All right, I've got the tip.
Okay, now rotate it. So tanzanite has a very famous pleochroism, specifically trichroism. One way that you can tell whether or not it has been heat treated is typically heat treated tanzanite causes the tanzanite to lose some of that trichroism, and it's usually dichroic. I mean, I for sure see, like, that's a violet direction.
Definitely.
And then that's a bluer direction.
Look at this in a different orientation. You may see,
Like reddish yellow,
yeah, you see additional
that
color.
one, yeah.
This is a really nice specimen. There is very distinct trichroism.
Oh, I can see.
You can see, I mean, very easily just rotating the specimen, you can see these color changes.
So this is one of my favorite pieces in the president's collection. It's about a 55 karat trillion cut tanzanite. You can see the eye visible pleochroism just rotating it. That's a pretty piece.
Yes, it is. Would fit great on your pinky.
Yeah, or on your forehead like little Uzi. Both of these pieces are on sale, I might add, at jtv.com. If you would like to peruse those, we can include the links in the description.
One of the things that makes tanzanite an interesting stone is its uniqueness to a geographical area. Tanzania, obviously. There are political and social concerns there that also make this important. You know, the people there in the Arusha area depend on tanzanite mining for their livelihoods. And we have supported the schools there. We've helped them drill water wells. We've made donations. When they had the floods in the tanzanite mines, JTV was the largest donor in the world to the flood relief program there. So we are intricately connected to that community of people and those families. The other aspect, though, is the political aspect, which is complicated. The government presently has put restrictions on the export of tanzanite rough. There are all kinds of politics relating to the permitting of tanzanite mines. The mines are getting deeper and deeper and deeper in order to get the finer material out. It's not going to last forever. Whether it's 10 more years, 20 more years, 30 more years, no one knows. But all indications are that the value of tanzanite will just continue to improve.
And I've read that the specific geological activity, so they estimate about 585 million years ago, there was a subduction event, which is where plates collide and then one plate goes under another. That's how a lot of mountains are built. Because of the specific ways that happened in the Mozambique Belt in Africa, you're only gonna get a certain type of activity, a certain ingredient that has a certain type of gemstone.
So let me summarize. What you're really saying is that the geological conditions that created this beautiful material, tanzanite, are not likely to be found anywhere else.
Exactly. The likelihood is pretty small.
Not very much.
Tanzanite is great and all. I love looking at all the six-figure gems, but I heard we have a few more.
We do, indeed.
Let's bring them out.
We have your box.
Oh, thank you. Okay. A galaxy you can hold in your hand.
Ooh.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. This is wrapped carefully, and I think I know what that is. Oh my gosh. So this opal is affectionately called
The Galaxy.
the Galaxy, which I'm currently holding a six-figure gem in my hands. Let's talk about why these are so nice, so expensive. How is this approximately the same price? Or is it?
It's not. This is actually more valuable than the tanzanite specimen.
So this little guy is more valuable than this guy.
Yeah.
And tell us why.
Number one, this is almost a perfect example of pinfire play of color in a black opal. Black opal structure can come in a lot of different forms. You can see herringbone patterns. You might see a large splay of color, but there are certain characteristic patterns, and this is one of those. This is a pinfire pattern, but it's almost a perfect pinfire pattern. The intrinsic value of black opal is dependent upon a number of things other than just the pattern, the colors in this, and the variety of colors as it shows the play of color, and then also the depth of the matrix. The darker, the deeper the background color of the opal, the more valuable it is. And this has just a super dark, rich base color, and that makes the play of color even more interesting too.
Yes, and reds and oranges are more valuable generally than the greens and blues. You have every color of the rainbow represented in both of these pieces.
Yes, now the Boulder opal is quite gemmy too. The saturation of the colors represented in that piece is so deep and so luscious. I mean, it's like candy.
We say gemmy a lot. Will you describe what that means?
So for me, what gemmy means is that you've got a beautiful, highly saturated color. We're talking about the depth of the color, how saturated it is. It can't be too dark and it can't be too light, but it has to be just right.
So this is a black opal and this is a Boulder opal, which actually means that there's a thin seam of opal on top of a bigger chunk of matrix.
Both of these pieces are from the eastern part of Australia. There used to be a gigantic basin, and a lot of the silica settled in that basin to form the Boulder opal and black opal.
So opal is made up of silica and oxygen and water that over time form a regularly repeating pattern of silica spheres. So you have light that comes in and it diffracts and interferes. The larger the sphere, the reds, the oranges, the yellow, the smaller spheres, you get the greens and the blues.
What you see in this pinfire, and the reason why it's so special, you do have variation in the size of the silica spheres in this piece, but the variation is relatively uniform from one side of the stone to the other, so that the variation in reds, greens, yellows, and blues tends to be very uniform across the whole stone, as opposed to being not uniform and having blotchy sections. This is not a blotchy stone at all. It just has this very, very beautiful uniform pattern.
Okay, so I'm not the best at math, but based on my loose calculations, I think we have $1 million worth of gems on this table.
Indeed we do. Exciting.
That is exciting and a little bit terrifying.
All within our grasp.
Yeah, all within our grasp. Why do we buy these? Why is it important for us to have these?
Oh, wow, that's a big question. These are awesome specimens. It's wonderful that we can share them with our friends via our website and on the air. We've always had a passion for loose gemstones. We've sent our experts all over the world to bring these stories and the education to our customers. We want the consumer to be knowledgeable so that they can make a wise decision regardless of where they're purchasing. We want to have the most exhaustive source of information anywhere online. So we've created a new website called Gemstones.com, which intends to fulfill that mission.
Okay, so the people who have been watching us for the last 4 or 5 years know us as JTV. Why the move to Gemstones.com?
The reason why we went to Gemstones.com is to elevate the importance of loose gemstones and especially colored gemstones. We think that they have not gotten enough love and appreciation. And by taking all the information that we used to have on JTV and then adding a plethora of additional information, we can use advanced technology to bring together information about inclusions, origins, mining, all of this information which can be aggregated to create a content marketplace. Not to sell anything, it's to share. And that's what we aim to be on gemstones.com.
Okay, we're gonna take a closer look at one of these specimens. On the count of 3, point to your favorite. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Both of us want you to take a closer look at the Galaxy Opal. We are so appreciative that we have it on this table and in our hands and available to show to you. Okay, so you guys know what our favorite piece was on the table, but we want to know what your favorite pieces were. So let us know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Thanks for watching.